In this video, we'll focus on ratios. First, let's try to understand what is a ratio. Ratios are expressions that compare quantities. So to help understand this definition, we have a few examples below. If we look at our first example says there are 15 girls and 10 boys in a classroom. Write this ratio in its simplest form. There are three particular ways that we can write ratios. Them being 15 followed by a semicolon, then our second number, 10, or we can write it as 15 over 10, or we can even write it out as 15 to 10. It says it wants the ratio in its simplest form. So if we look for the greatest common divisor, we should recognize that 15 and 10 are both divisible by 5. So 15 divided by 5 is 3, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. So we can write our three different forms of this ratio into its simplest form as 3 over 2 or 3 to 2. Now that we understand what a ratio is and the basics of ratios, let's look at a few story problems we have. Our first problem says, on a farm there are 6 cows for every 4 sheep and 2 chickens for every 4 sheep. The farmer owns 132 animals and he wants to know how many sheep are on the farm. So first, let's write our information into a ratio form. When we write in a ratio, we'll get 6 cows to 4 sheep and 4 sheep to 2 chickens. If we add this up, we'll see that there are 12 animals in each group. And if the farmer owns 132 animals, or 12 animals in each group, that means the farmer has 11 groups. So now that we know there's 11 groups, we know that there are 4 sheep in each group. So we can just multiply our number of groups times the number of sheep in each group, and we'll get the total number of sheep that are on the farm, which in this case is 44 sheep. And our next question, if there are 18 students who have to share 6 candy bars evenly, how many times does each candy bar have to be broken so that each student gets the same amount? So if we write this into its ratio form, we'll have 6 candy bars for 18 students, or 6 over 18. Once again, if we look for the greatest common divisor, we see that 6 goes into 6 and 18. So if we divide each side by 6, we'll get a simplified fraction of 1 over 3, since 6 goes into 6 once and 6 goes into 18 3 times. Our ratio is 1 candy bar for every 3 students. So if 3 students are sharing 1 candy bar, that must mean that each candy bar has to be broken into 3 pieces. So the answer is 3 pieces. Our last example here, we have a factory that builds cars, and for every 4 cars painted blue, 9 are painted red. If 65 cars are painted every hour, how many of the cars were painted blue? So we have 4 blue cars for every 9 red cars. So we're going to have the number of blue cars over the total number of cars equal to the total number of blue cars per hour over the total number of cars painted per hour. So we have 4 blue cars. To get the total number of cars, we just have to add 4 and 9. So we'll get 13 cars, and it says 65 cars are produced, and we're trying to find the number of blue cars painted each hour. To solve this proportion now, we can cross multiply and set it as an equation. When we cross multiply, we'll get 13x equals 4 times 65, which is 260. If we are to solve for x, we'll divide each side by 13, which will give us a final answer of 20 blue cars that are painted each hour. And that'll be it for today's video.